Hello, I'm Joe Viola, Marketing Specialist at Verity IT. Today's webinar, we will be covering the ever-evolving topic of cyber risk management. Cyber risk management is the continuous process of identifying, analyzing, and evaluating organizations' cybersecurity threats. With the emphasis on continuous, there's not one solution that resolves these security issues, but instead, nonstop processes. As concern becomes more mainstream, it has become a huge wake-up call for organizations to get their risk management in place. Today, we are joined by Andrew at Corey Group to discuss the ramifications involved when dealing with cyber risk management. Thank you for joining us today, Andrew.
Thank you for having me, Joe. I appreciate it. Today, we're going to talk about two things that really work hand in hand together. First of all, we're going to be looking at cybersecurity and how it relates to cyber liability insurance. As the current environment, businesses typically have weak or no cybersecurity protocols, backup plans, or cyber liability insurance. What this does, this puts your company at risk for hacking, which would include ransomware, notifications, so on and so forth. Cyber liability insurance and pricing is really dependent on meeting cybersecurity compliance protocols. If you do not have protocols in place, it is very unlikely that you will be able to procure any type of cyber liability insurance coverage, or you'll be able to get coverage, but it will be very weak and with low limits. The cyber liability insurance marketplace for the product itself is drying up. And that has to do with the fact that there are so many breaches that have gone down and the unknown ransom that hackers are demanding. So it's difficult for an insurance company to really define their risk and to make sure that they are in a position to be able to respond if there was a breach. In order to do any type of government business with any entity, they are requiring that certification is in place, which means that they have specific protocols that you need to meet just in order to bid a contract. As we speak, 1 out of 4 businesses will suffer some type of a cyber breach in the next 4 years. The reason that is because it's not just the 2 guys in a garage that are trying to hack into information. It's whole countries and that are working on typically cracking into your cyber. Ransomware has grown huge in the last couple of years based upon the fact that the thieves are being able to shut down businesses. They're able to take personal information and utilize that to their best interest. Security breaches in healthcare alone are over $6 trillion in 2020. Cybersecurity Ventures predict that cybercrime will cost $10.5 trillion annually by the year of 2025. According to IBM, 9% through 14% of your IT budget should be security. Systematics threats reports show that spear phishing emails are used in 65% of cyber attacks. According to PurpleSec, 98% of cybercrime rely on social engineering to accomplish successfully. 6.9 new phishing and scam pages created in the 2020 making. It is most common attack in 2020, according to the FBI. Why it's important to have cyber risk management and liability insurance. What can be done? First of all, you should utilize professional cybersecurity firms to help you implement these protocols. Protect your company on the top side with cyber liability insurance. And as mentioned before, if you do not have the protocols in place, the likelihood of you getting coverage or good coverage is slim and none. Most cyber insurance companies have online portals, which means that you can get information and backup information on your policy anytime, any place. And I want to make sure that you realize that getting policies and getting any type of a quote is very simple. We just need to know the revenue, the physical address, the web address, the type of business that you had, and if you've had any cyber incidents in the last 3 years. The most important thing in looking at cyber liability insurance is really identifying your risk. Most cyber insurance companies can and will provide cybersecurity profile risk assessments free of charge to the applicant. What this means is they will look at how many business functions does your company affect, or does the hacking affect in your company? Is it just a minor inconvenience, or will bring your business to a standstill? And that's really where the ransomware comes into place. If you're at a standstill, the options of getting your information back are really in the hands of the hackers. And then also, what potential vulnerabilities does your organization have right now? And as I said, the cybersecurity insurance carriers will do this profile risk free of charge. And if you don't end up buying cyber liability insurance, at least you will have that assessment. All right, in order to figure out what type of insurance you'll need, you have to analyze your risk. The cyber liability insurance carrier will help in quantifying the following risks: network security liability, privacy liability, which would include individuals' laptops, cell phones, and any other information gathering device. It will also figure out what the fines are for PCI, penalties and assessments that you, if you're hacked, will have to pay. And then they help with cyber extortion. You should definitely leverage your insurance provider to help you identify these gaps, reduce risk, and prevent future downtime resulting from cyber events. Okay, we got everything going. What happens if I do get attacked? Now what? Well, first of all, you should notify your cyber liability insurance carrier right away. And the important thing with that is they will pick up the ball and run with it. Carrier will draft privacy breach notification letters, substitute notices, website notices, or email notification templates. The carrier will then assist you in notifying any appropriate governmental, regulatory, law enforcement professionals, or statutory body. The company is responding to any regulation investigation and defend any regulatory action, which, if you've ever dealt with the government, you know that those costs can be exorbitant. The next is reputation management. The most important thing most companies have is their reputation. So what you need to do is engage with a crisis communication consultant to obtain specific advice in direct relationship with the cyber event. Now, with the cyber liability insurance carrier, will assist in that as well. Coordinate media relationships in response to the cyber events. The worst thing you can do is hide with your head in the sand and not get out in front of it, because eventually it's going to get out. Receive training for relevant spokespeople with respects to media communication in direct relation to the cyber event. Then you got to formulate a crisis communication plan in order to reduce damage to your brand and reputation as a direct result of the cyber event. Then you got to print and post appropriate notifications for any individual or individuals affected by the actual or suspected cyber event. Send email notices or issue substitute notices. Something else that needs to be in place, especially if you have very sensitive client information, you got to provide credit monitoring services after the event in order to identify restoration services or identify theft insurance to affected individuals. Set up a call center to manage inbound and outbound calls in a direct relation to the cyber event. Then provide translation services to manage communications with affected individuals. Well, with all that being said, how can your cyber liability carrier help mitigate the impact on your technology? Well, first of all, they engage with an external IT security consultant to identify the source and scope of the cyber events. Obtain initial advice to remediate the impact of the cyber events. Contain and remove any of the malware discovered on your computer services. Conduct forensic investigation of your computer systems where reasonable and necessary or as required by law or a regulatory body, including a requirement for a PCI forensic investigator. Then engage with an IT security consultant to provide expert witness testimony at any trial or hearing arising from the cyber event. Now, many people will think that the first thing to do is to get your IT people involved right away. But by doing that, you compromise the insurance company's position. And the fact remains that the IT people that you would be calling in are the ones that design your program now, yet they were able to get breached. As you can see, we operate on a basis with a lot of different cyber liability insurance carriers. These are just a handful that are out there. However, what I had said previously with the market drying up, it has dried up considerably. Take, for instance, CNA, which is one of the larger insurers in the world, has pulled out completely of cyber liability insurance. And in fact, they got breached themselves in a big way. So it's important, once again, and I can't stress it enough, it's very easy for us to get quotes based on those very simple things that we reviewed before. And if nothing else, the insurance carrier will do an evaluation of where you sit, and then you can make a conscious, correct decision on which direction you want to go. Okay, I see we've got a couple questions here, and if you have additional questions, please email them to us, and we will be more than happy to respond. I'll go through a couple questions right off the bat. The first question is, my company already has IT personnel. Why would we need the services of a cybersecurity firm and or a cyber liability company? Well, the answer to that is to reiterate what I had said before. Your IT staff should look at this as a bonus or as some type of an ally and a tool that they can utilize to make sure that your company is in better position. The problem you run into, quite frankly, is many IT people, like most of us professionals, have an ego, and they feel that you're questioning their ability to handle their job. When in fact, as I said before, we operate and assist, and they should utilize it as a tool. And as I said before, problem with having IT people working, your company IT people working on a crisis, is that they're the ones who design the program in the first place. So there's something wrong with the design that needs to be rectified. And by having a third disinterested party work on that is very beneficial. Okay, next question. If we do want to purchase cyber liability insurance, how do we know what coverages and limits we should purchase? That's a very good question, because depending on the type of business that you're in and the scope of your operations, it can vary greatly. And keeping in mind that the policies themselves are quite different. Some may cover huge amounts of ransomware, some may cover none. Notification, working with government, so on and so forth. What you need to do is you need to consult with an insurance professional to be able to help you after you put the protocols in that we had mentioned before. That way we can do a very thorough risk management assessment, and then make recommendations on which direction you should go.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today. Again, I'd like to thank Andrew and everyone else that attended today. As thought leaders in the IT industry, we are hosting monthly webinars throughout the entire year surrounding trending IT topics. If you want to learn more about whether or not you have the right security coverage for your business, or if you want to learn more about cyber liability insurance, please reach out to us at info@verity-it.com. Thank you so much. That's all the time we have for today. Again, I'd like to thank Andrew and everybody else that attended. As thought leaders in the IT industry, we are hosting monthly webinars throughout the entire year surrounding trending IT topics. If you want to learn more about whether or not you have the rights, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today. Again, I'd like to thank Andrew and everybody else that attended. As thought leaders in the IT industry, we are hosting monthly webinars throughout the entire year surrounding trending IT topics. If you want to learn more about whether or not you have the right cybersecurity insurance, or if you want to learn more about cyber liability insurance, please reach out to us. You can reach out at info@verity-it.com. Again, thank you all so much for coming, and I hope everybody has a productive rest of the day.